Have you ever wondered what your website would look like if a pro took a crack at redesigning it? How much better would it really be? Well, that is exactly what I'm going to show you in today's video. I asked my email list to send over links to their website if they wanted the chance for me to redesign it on a YouTube video like this. So I just want to give extremely high praise to everyone who had the courage to send over their website link. I know it can be intimidating to put yourself out there, but I just wanted to say I'm going to be extremely kind in my feedback, and I'm so proud of every one of you who submitted your websites. Now, the one which I chose for today's video is from Amy. Amy has a Reiki business, and I'm going to be reviewing and tweaking and redesigning the website for her. If you want the chance for me to also redesign your website, then go ahead and just drop your website link in the comments below, and that will enter you in for the chance for me to redesign it too. And when you are giving comments below, I just want to also mention, please be extremely kind in your feedback, because it is super important to me that people feel comfortable for me to come and redesign their websites, and I hope that you'll be very encouraging in the comments. So without further ado, let's get into it. I'm going to show you the before and after of the website, and then we're going to go through and I'm going to share exactly what it is that I changed on the redesign and why exactly I made that decision. Okay, so when I was redesigning the website, the thing which I was really thinking about was how exactly is an ideal client most likely to come to this website, and what information are they most likely to need. So I was assuming someone is probably Googling Reiki in Baltimore, Maryland, and then going through the search results or going through the Google Maps results as well, and then selecting an option and coming to the homepage. Then I figured the things that the person is most likely looking for on this website is what the place looks like. That's what I want to know whenever I go to a spa or to get a massage or something. I'm like, ooh, what is this like ambiance and vibe that I'm going to be walking into? Anytime you have a physical location, it's kind of nice to show photos of that physical location, so someone has sort of an expectation of exactly what they're going to get when they walk in the front door. Second thing is probably prices, location, is there parking? Those are the important things. Potentially also maybe some like testimonials or figuring out who exactly is doing this service for me. If it is clear that this is a really big spa or really big business, then the who is doing it isn't so important. But when I went through the website, I could tell immediately, like, okay, this seems to be like a very like one person small business. So therefore I probably would want to know the person who is actually offering the service. So working our way from the top down the page, I'm going to talk about the different changes which I made. So the first thing was actually the top navigation area. So on our original website here, our top navigation is taking up a very large amount of space, and it just isn't the best use of that real estate on the website. So what I was thinking is a few things. One, I minimized the number of navigation options and shortened the titles on the navigation options. The second thing which I did, I took out the social media links in the top navigation, again, coming back to the fact that like those are prime real estate on the website. We want to make sure that only the most important things in there are in there. And I would say that following on social media probably isn't the most vital thing that we want the person to do. The other thing is, while I love the logo, the one downside of this logo is that it is very large. It is a square logo. And so I feel like we would be best served by using that little graphic potentially somewhere else on the website, but not in the actual logo, because it just makes the whole logo take up a huge amount of space. The other thing about the logo on the original website is that it isn't a transparent background logo, and therefore if we ever have this logo specifically where there is a background image, then it doesn't look super professional having the white border around it. So that's why I went for just a simple, plain text-based logo on the redesign. I think that the script writing in the original logo was beautiful. If you can get that logo, Amy, just without, or that text, sorry, without the background where you can get it transparent, then I think it would be fantastic to upload it into here and have that as your text-based logo. The other thing which I changed on the redesign is I put a call to action button for our most important call to action in the top right of the navigation. That is typically where you will find the most important thing that the person should do on the website. And so I have a book now button there. The next thing which I changed is I wanted to get an image in the banner that looks as if I was walking into the location, what exactly that would look like. So I just grabbed an image off of a stock photography website, unsplash.com, copyright free stock images. Of course, I think it's very important that you use an actual image of your space, but I wanted to encourage you, this is the kind of idea of an image that I think would fit really, really well as your banner in the top navigation. So if it is possible to take a photo like this at your space, that would be fantastic. The thing to note about this image specifically, it might not look like the most exciting image in the world. It has a lot of blank space happening in the image, but I think it's actually very important that we shoot an image in this way to make sure that we actually have the space to have the most important thing, which in this case is we need our text to detail, okay, what exactly is this? Where is it? What is the call to action? A little bit of exactly what it is that you're doing and everything. So we actually want an image that isn't too busy for this top banner image. The next thing that you'll notice here is I really significantly changed up sort of like the vibe and the branding of the website too. Now, hear me out on this one. When it comes to something like Reiki healing, we're talking a lot throughout this website about like stress relief and relaxation and healing and finding bliss and all those things. And when I think about that, what I noticed in the current branding is it had a very like youthful, vibrant, fun, and playful sort of vibe to it. And so there is in branding an idea that you have brands that fit into different seasons of the year. So the branding, the old branding to me really looked like a spring kind of vibe, like again, very youthful, vibrant, bright colors, those sorts of things. But then when I thought about, okay, what exactly is this business offering? They're offering healing, relaxation, stress relief, which to me feels like a different season than spring. So I went for something that was still the same like idea and concept of colors, but a bit more muted and a bit more neutral, which to me felt more like relaxing than bright, bold, and a wide variety of colors. The other thing which I did was I minimized the number of colors happening on the website. It is generally best practice to have 1 to 3 colors on your website. If, by the way, you want an entire video about choosing colors for your website, I made a full video on that. I will link it up above for you too. So in terms of number of colors that I'm noticing on the old website, we have in the logo a yellow, pink, green, blue. Then when it comes to our images, we have a variety of colors happening in those. And then when I scroll to the very bottom, we're getting a variety of colors in the images. And then also here we have a dark green color and then a bright blue bokeh treatment as well. Now I think it is fantastic that Amy, you have gone through and you've thought really clearly about, okay, I want my say bokeh treatment button to really stick out. I think that is wonderful, but I just want to tone down the number of colors that we have going on the website so we're hitting our best practices. So you'll notice as I scroll through the new redesigned website, I didn't just think about the colors in terms of the actual like buttons and text and everything, but I also thought about it in the actual colors of the images that I was using as well. So I really made sure that the color scheme was consistent between the images and also the buttons and text on the website too. Next, let's talk about the order of items which I put here on the homepage. So first we have our specific, quick, very easy to understand details about what exactly this is, where it is, and what to do next. So that is the first thing. The next thing I have is more images of the physical space. Now, of course, you would need to take images that actually fit the physical space. One pro tip which I have for you here when it comes to taking photos of the physical space is, yes, it's good to get these like wider shots and everything, but it's also fantastic, especially if we don't have the most beautiful space in the world. It is also good if you have ever noticed this in Airbnb rentals. If it's not the most amazing drop dead professionally designed space in the world, what they do is they'll often do close-ups on some specific items in the space. So say this photo here on the right-hand side, pretty much anywhere, no matter if your space has been professionally designed or not, you could get a photo in your space that looks like the one on the right here. So I encourage you, if you can get these big, beautiful images of your space, fantastic, do that. And if not, definitely make use of doing some of these like more close-up photos because it can look really beautiful and look really professional, even if maybe you don't have a professionally designed space. So again, think about show someone what they're going to walk into before they actually walk in the door by showing them the space on your website. Now, the next thing I have is the actual options and the prices. So we have the details on the different packages. Now, one thing I noticed on the original website was we had a wide variety of packages, and I really encourage you to slim down the options. Try to choose like 3 or 4 different options that someone can choose between. The less options that you have, it's easier for someone to make a decision. So I just streamlined down to 3 different options here. With all of the options, we have a specific title, we have details on how long the treatment is, and then we have the actual price, which they could click on to actually book that service. Key here being to actually make use of, if you're using Squarespace, this website is on Squarespace, using the scheduling option so that people can actually book the appointment online. That is going to significantly increase the conversion rate of people actually booking. Now, the next thing someone might be wondering is, where exactly is this and how do I get there? So I have gone ahead and put a map. Now, when I put this map on the website, I was thinking about a few things specifically. One, the typical like Google Map style map is just not the most beautiful thing in the world and wouldn't kind of fit the aesthetic of the whole website. So inside of Squarespace, I chose the option for the blue map. So it's just sort of like white, gray, and blue, which again is fitting the aesthetic of the website. So that was a conscious decision. The next thing also, which was also conscious, was making sure that I had this, instead of it just being a square, you wouldn't have actually seen Baltimore in the right-hand corner. And I think that's important because I could imagine you're getting a lot of clients from the city to come out to Cantonsville. So I wanted to make sure that the map showed Baltimore in the image and therefore like, oh, okay, it's actually not so far from me here. Of course, I put the address, which is super important, and then we also put the opening hours as well. And then I also there mentioned appointments available either online or in person in your specific location. Now I noticed on the original website, we had a wide variety of number of photos that had like different clouds and beautiful sunsets and colors to them and everything. And so I wanted to pull that into the website because I have a feeling, Amy, that you were loving that. So I went ahead and took this photo here. This photo here is still the clouds. It's still similar to what you had before, but I had the feeling that it fit the aesthetic and colorway of the overall website a bit more than if we had like a variety of different photos of sunsets and clouds and those sorts of things and colors. So I used the image here just to add a bit more visual interest to the section so it wasn't just boring text. So I put a frequently asked section because I feel like these are a few things which you would most likely people are going to want to know when they come to work with you. So I actually made up the content and the information here. So I have parking. I talk about the options of parking that are available in the area. I talked about preparation. I could imagine I've never actually had a Reiki session myself. So I was thinking about what exactly would I want to know. I'm wondering like, oh, is it like massage? Am I getting naked? Am I wearing something? What should I be wearing? So I talked about the preparation and also arrive 10 minutes prior to your first appointment. I'm assuming that's like typical, so I'm guessing you probably want that too. And then I also mentioned, I noticed on the original site it said only serving female clients, so I wanted to find a way to work that in here too. So I put the availability only seeing female clients at this time, and that's all under the frequently asked section. Now, the next thing I have is some testimonials, and then we go into a bit about Amy. So I feel like this is super important. Amy, I love the fact that you have an image of yourself here. It is so important. Anytime I go on a website and someone says like, hi, I this, I that, I whatever, I'm like, who is I? So I think it's fantastic that we have an image of yourself here. I tweaked this image a little bit. So the original image had some like, it looked like books or board games or something in the background. And I felt like it just, again, didn't fit with like the vibe and the aesthetic of the website. So I went ahead and I removed the background behind you in the image. And I just put sort of a gray background so that it fit the image which I chose here on the left. Now, if at the point that you get a super professional photo shoot done, then fantastic. I think that we can really use a like very large photo happening, maybe like replacing this candle image here. But for the time being, while we are using this one here, I think, Amy, you look so lovely, so friendly, very trustworthy when I see this image here. So I think that is fantastic. When I grabbed it off your website, I didn't get it in the highest quality. So I wanted to keep the image smaller on the page as opposed to larger if I didn't have the full quality. The worst thing would be to have a blurry photo on the website. So it's better to have smaller rather than blurry. So I went ahead and made it smaller and just something else, another image sort of taking up some of the space and again, adding some visual interest. Now, if this website were for a much larger spa, then I don't think that it's important to have the details of all the like estheticians or masseuses or whatever it is on the website. But because it's very clear to me that this is like a very small business, from going through the website, I really wanted to make sure that we did have the details from Amy there. So I think that your little like details and bio and information on how you got into the practice is fantastic. Now you'll notice also when I came to the design of this section, had I just put the 3 paragraphs, one after the next, we would have had the third paragraph coming much lower than the photo and the visual on the left-hand side, which I wasn't loving. So I went ahead and I took the last paragraph and I spread it across the width so that it fit the same width as the image to the end of the other paragraphs of text, just to make sure that it looked odd before having like the paragraphs go further than the image. That's also something to think about if you're ever redesigning a website watching this, to keep that in mind too. Now I have one more testimonial on the page here, and then I went down to the actual main call to action on the website here. So Amy, you did a fantastic job on your original website of having a call to action at the bottom of the page. One extremely common thing which I see on people's websites is there's no specific reason or purpose or benefit to the person to opt in. Very often I go onto websites talking about like, join my newsletter, but the honest truth is that no one wants to join a newsletter. They only want to get on your email list if there is some benefit for them. So I went ahead and I thought through a benefit for the person, and very easy if you're offering some sort of product or service would just be 10% off whatever the thing is. So I went ahead and again, big and bold, it's extremely clear, doesn't take a whole lot of explanation, just 10% off your first session, first name, last name, email address, sign up, very simplistic. Now, I'm guessing if you're watching this, then you are also interested to up-level your website designs, but how exactly are you supposed to do that? Just one YouTube video like this of me showing you how I redesigned something isn't necessarily going to make you a professional. But lucky for you, I created an entire video describing how I would go about learning website design if I had to start all over again. So be sure to watch this video next to catch how I would go from going from newbie to complete professional web designer step by step.